assignment of our church, Brad, is to reclaim culture for the cause of Christ.
Yes.
We can't let the devil have swag and surf.
That's right.
We can't let the devil have walk it out. We can't let the devil have this plastic red bubble bear.
It's not plastic.
We got.
I don't know what it is.
We got to reclaim it for the cause of Christ.
We don't make it rain on strippers. We only reverence one stripper, and that's the one that took off glory to put on humanity and then get butt naked on a cross to die for both you and me. The only stripper I'm in love with is Jesus. And he's the one that puts that bread in my pocket. That bread in my pocket.
So many songs that have blessed people have been written butt naked. Next question.
Really?
But not one sock on. Out straight out the bed. But if you come over to my house, don't sit on that piano bench. Sit on that piano bench. That piano bench ain't had nothing but cheeks on that piano bench. For Jesus. Next question.
I got 4 boys, right? And it's like, yeah, man, it's crazy. All my friends going to the Rod Wave concert, but you know, we can't go to stuff like that because of who we are. And I was like, well, what's wrong? We don't want to get you in trouble. I don't know if that was reverse psychology or not, but the Ansley and me was like, what you mean, get me? Who gonna put me in trouble? They said, well, Dad, we know you Pastor Mike, and know if we just want to go because we like his music, but people gonna judge you, and they gonna hate on you, they gonna be tweeting about you, and we don't want that. I messed around and said, you want to go? They was like, yeah. I said, well, put your shoes on. That's it. Like, Lord, I pray don't nobody see me in this thing. Mason all in the front like this. Ride the riches, you gonna come here, ride it, honey, high. But then my baby messed around and looked at me and said, Dad, I said, what? Thank you. I said, I don't care who gonna talk about me. Because whenever the child tells the father thank you, it make him do whatever it takes to bless you.
I want to encourage y'all to love yourself before you wait on anybody else. Is that all right? Is that all right? How can I love somebody else if I can't love myself enough to know when it's time? What up, ATL? Come on. Help me sing it. Survivor, I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna work harder. I'm a survivor. I'm gonna make it.
All right. I wasn't even going to say nothing about this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I've been to a couple Diddy parties.
This is so frustrating to watch. Why? Well, let's talk about it. The more I do this and see the behavior of these so-called pastors, Christian artists, representatives of Christ, I believe I know why we are seeing what we are seeing, and I'll get to the main reason in a moment. Guys, where's the fear of the Lord? Do they know who they are dealing with? The magnitude of a holy God? There's no fear, no reverence. Holiness has gone out the window. They've turned God's church into a den of thieves. They turned a place of holiness and worship into a club atmosphere, into an entertainment venue. This mixing of the sacred and profane. They mangle the scriptures. They present God an unworthy offering like Cain did, all for the sake of culture. Now, there's a major push for the church to be like the world, for the church to look like the world, act like the world, feel like the world, sound like the world. But in order for you to do this, you have to compromise the word and God's standards. They began to hate what is good and love what is wrong. Many of these so-called faces of Christianity, guys, they have come out in their support to same-sex union, abortion, with their twisting and straight up abandonment of scripture because the culture has allowed this or says it's good. So therefore, in their compromised state, they have to say this is okay too. Keep up with the Joneses. What a sad state to be in for the culture to dictate your walk with Christ. Sellouts. Sellouts is what they are. You have a Christian artist talking about making songs naked. Why are you trying to take people's minds there? He's trying so hard to stay relevant with the culture. Yes, Kurt Franklin, and then grinding up on an old lady. Sell out. William Murphy says the assignment of his church is to reclaim culture for the cause of Christ. If I heard that mission statement, I'm out the door. The church is to proclaim and preach the gospel, and it's a place of worship to the Lord, period. Not chasing the culture. Guys, the culture is ever changing. The culture is continually moving away from anything that represents Christ. And you're going to chase that? This is the purpose of the church? No. Ephesians 4:13-14 says, until we all reach unity in the faith and in the knowledge of the Son of God and become mature, attaining to the whole measure of the fullness of Christ, then we will no longer be infants tossed back and forth by the waves and blown here and there by every wind of teaching and by the cunning and craftiness of people in their deceitful scheming. This is what should be happening in the church to help us be strong in the word so we will not fall for the deceitful schemes and false teachings. But they're doing the opposite. Forget about the culture. I don't care about the culture. Now, I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the culture. It's kingdom over culture. We have the salt of the earth. But what good if the salt loses its flavor? When you compromise like this, guys, you lose your flavor. Now we see this Pastor Mike guy goes to a Rod Wave concert. Never heard of the guy before in my life, but I did take a peek at some of the lyrics, and a Christian probably shouldn't be going there. Now, this is insanity what he says. He says whatever it takes to get the child to tell the father thank you. So if the son says, I want to go kill someone I have a problem with, you say go ahead, and the son says thank you. According to him, according to his mixed up theology, mission accomplished. Pastor Mike, can you give me scripture to back that up, to back up that thought process? You can't. Our job is not to be our children's friends. It is to be their parents. You know the crazy thing that he said? Guys, did you hear what he said? He said that his sons told him that, oh, people are going to look at you, they're going to judge you, they're going to say, why? Even in the world's messed up thinking, in their sinful desires, they know that there should be a standard of Christianity. So if they see a pastor at a Rob Wave concert, they're going to question that. Whoa, why are you here? What are you doing here? And so even the world will question, why is a Christian attending this concert? But again, he dismisses that and says, I don't care as long as I get the approval of my son, which is sad, guys. And then we see this Karen Sherrod or Kira Sherrod, whatever her name is, singing secular songs in the church. Why? Only one reason: to sound like the world, to bring the world in the church, to bring the culture in the church. You guys don't think the devil is not in the church? 2 Corinthians 11:14-15. And no wonder, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So it is no surprise if his servants also disguise themselves as servants of righteousness. Their end will correspond to their deeds. Guys, let me ask you this. What good is it if these people are giving you stuff to draw you back in the world. Guys, you know what God brought you out of. And you're going to let these people pull you back in? Joshua 24:15 says, but if serving the Lord seems undesirable to you, then choose for yourself this day whom you will serve, whether the gods of your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates or gods of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Guys, decide what you want. These lies, this fake representation of Christ, this sellout Christianity. I think we've passed the realm of ignorance, because these folks are supposed to be the faces of Christianity. Some of the faces of Christianity today, representatives of Christ to the masses. One would think they would have a understanding of Scripture. The only thing I can think of or attribute this to, the only logic to this, the main reason we're seeing what we're seeing today, is because Satan is in the building. People question, why do you call this out? Do you see the damage that this can cause? I'm not sneaking into their churches and recording this. They put this out for the public to see, for the masses to see, and they tell you this is the gospel. I rebuke that and say, no, it is not. Not even close. How do I know? How do you know? Well, because we have this. We have this as our guide to holiness. Scripture says in 1 John 2:15 through 16, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. So, guys, listen, am I angry? Yes. You should be too. And for Christians and pastors who kind of want to stand on the sideline and turn a blind eye to this, it is getting to a point where you won't be able to, where you're going to have to speak out against this stuff, because of social media, it goes out to the masses. It goes out to your congregation. And if you kind of ignore it, turn a blind eye, don't address some of this stuff, you have to understand this stuff is designed to pull people away from sound doctrine. And so, guys, listen, do not fall for this counterfeit gospel. One thing you can guarantee from this channel is you're going to get some sound doctrine. Am I perfect? Am I the end all be all? No, absolutely not. But there's one thing for sure, is I'm going to present the gospel. I'm going to go through Scripture. I'm going to tell you what Scripture says. Not my feelings, not my opinion, what I think, definitely not what the culture standard is. I'm going to present you what God's standard is, what His word says on the matter. And so if you want to subscribe, go ahead. If you don't, that's fine as well. But that's one thing you're going to get here at Biblically Constructed. We are definitely going to go through the Scriptures. Please be on the lookout for this stuff. Be bold, be blessed, but most importantly, be biblically constructed.